There's a lot going on in the world right now, but I've been really into the Costco guys lately. I know I'm a couple years too late, but I honestly love the content they put down because they get so much hate in the comments, but they just keep going. It's like an inspiration. And people say they fell off, but I don't think they fell off because I think they were just as popular as they were a couple years ago. It's just the people that hate them are more vocal about it. Like that We Bring the Boom song on TikTok, which is their main platform, only has like 18 million views. I mean, I dream of having 18 million views on one of my videos or podcasts, but for how popular they were, that isn't a lot. So that tells me that a lot of people just stole their music, which is what a lot of people do, unfortunately, is plagiarism has been around since the beginning of time. But I guess on TikTok, though, that's like the standard to just like take they make it easier for you to use the sound. I guess it does help the creator because then people find out who they are. That's just like the standard on TikTok. Because I remember originally TikTok was named Musically, and it was for like teenagers to do lip syncing. And now it's just become like Facebook where people argue and it's just all about like rage bait and trying to rage bait people. That's probably why I like the Costco guys, is because they're just like making content and they're rage baiting people by not trying to rage bait people. That's why I love them. I mean, it's a little cringe, but it is funny. And like, they get a lot of hate comments. For instance, they get, we should have left you behind in 2025, 2024, or 2023. They also like get comments about their daughter, who I think is a teenager still all the time, which is really weird. They don't really have her too much in things, probably for her protection. I mean, it's sad. She should be able to be online more, not have to worry about weirdos. That's on the weirdos, not like that shouldn't be her parents' responsibility. But I mean, there's so many weirdos out there. They also get a lot of comments about the kid, Big Justice's weight. He's like 13 years old. I mean, you shouldn't make fun of anyone's appearance at any age, but he's still like a child. And so does the Rizzler. I'm like, I don't even think he's 10 yet. He might just turn 10. He just hit the double digits, and people are going really hard on him. But most people like the Rizzler, though. That's another thing in the comments, though, about the Rizzler is that whenever he does a video with the Costco guys, they're always like, they say, "Oh, the Rizzler's too big for them," which is kind of like funny, but like sad. And someone made a point to say that Big AJ, Big Justice AJ, always hangs out with children that aren't his. I don't think AJ's like a weirdo. I think he just like wants to be famous. But I mean, who doesn't? Honestly, everyone does for the most part, or they want money or fame or power. That's what like motivates a lot of people. That's okay. Probably not, but I wish like niceness motivated people, but I get it. You gotta look out for yourself. But I do think AJ is just setting up for his family. AJ does seem like a good, genuine guy, though. I don't think he's a weirdo. I mean, I could be wrong, but I just don't think he is. I think he does stuff with like the other kids and stuff. I mean, it's like a job, and like Hollywood always does stuff with kids. I mean, this kind of weird time to be talking about it because of the Epstein files, but I think he's like doing stuff with like the younger people because they're who are the other influencers on TikTok, and there's not too many older influencers that are his age. Because I feel like a lot of times when it comes to like media, it's like older people don't get it because they don't want to change. So I've been doing stand-up comedy for about a decade now, and I remember when I first started doing comedy, people were like, I hate YouTubers. Like all these open mic comics would be like, I hate YouTubers. I hate YouTubers. Like they sell tickets to these comedy clubs and make money. And now when I see new people doing comedy, they try to make content because that's what you got to do. And I still see people stuck in that old ways of not making content. And people always complain about social media and they're like, oh, life's just all about how many followers and likes you get. I'm like, no, it's not. But like, if you make good content, it's like what videos of people want to see. You know, it could be like dogs, cooking, hunting, anything. I'm gonna get into hobbies later because I'm gonna talk about later about like because we're going through some rough times about how to deal with depression. So I'm not an expert. I'm gonna go on that like later on the episode, which will probably be 5 minutes. Probably not. These are short episodes, but how long can one guy really talk for? People really hate them. That's why I love them. Like usually when someone in like my life I see an acquaintance starts like annoying people or like a lot of people hate, as long as they're like I think like a good person, I just find it so funny to me. I've always been like that. Like when other people get annoyed, that's like what I find like really funny. My wife says I have this power where I can annoy people by just being nice to them. I do it all the time. I was at IKEA the one time and there's this couple, they were looking at this like chair, and I actually happened to have that same chair. So I walked up to him, I said, hey, I said, it's like, I have that chair at home. And then the couple looked visibly mad. And then the wife probably like felt bad for me. So she started asking me questions. Like, she's like asking me questions like I was stupid. She's like, oh, do you like that chair? And I was like, yeah, I have it in yellow. The guy was still mad, but like she was nice, and I walked away. And another time, I saw one of those shirts. It was actually at the same like the IKEA trip, not Costco. Got Costco on the brand. The same IKEA trip. This woman had that like classic hoodie from a few years ago that said, if you stomp on the flag, I'll stomp your ass. And I was being sarcastic, and I just like, walked up to him like, hey, it's a nice hoodie. And I didn't really think it was a nice hoodie. And she got like really offended and annoyed, like, get this like weird away from me. I'm not saying people ask for it, but when you wear like a t-shirt that says you're gonna beat someone up if they stomp on a flag, like you're trying to like elicit like a reaction out of somebody. I'm not saying like people bring stuff on themselves, but when you wear a graphic T-shirt that says you're gonna beat somebody up because they do something that you don't like that's gonna elicit like a reaction out of people. You're kind of like threatening people, like preemptively, like threatening people because like if you do this, I'm gonna beat you up. That's like threatening. Not that like everyone carries flags on their stomp. No one really stomps on flags. I don't know, just like chill out. It had like the work boot on it, like put the print that's like the classic work boot footprint, like the flag. Yeah, and too, I remember I sat down next to a couple at that same trip. I forget what I did, but they actually thought I was funny because I was sitting there talking shit. So I had fun with them. I try not to be mean. I don't think you should be mean to people, but maybe I'm a hypocrite because like I do like to annoy people, but like I don't know. I'm a hypocrite. I try not to do it being mean. I have like bits about this in my stand up, but one time I was at a music festival and this person had an all elite wrestling shirt on, which I love professional wrestling. I mean, most of the people listening to this know me, so they know I love professional wrestling. I started talking to him and he was with his like girlfriend, and he just turned around and ignored me. So I kept talking to him. And then eventually my wife told me to just leave him alone. But I was just like having a one-way conversation with this guy whose back was turned. And what I found out is at a I found out a few years ago that just because someone stops talking to you doesn't mean that you have to stop talking to them. Now, I don't do it to women because like I'm a man, that can come off as like dangerous and weird. But like another man, that's fine. I'm not trying to be like sexist or have a double standard. Women get harassed by men all day. So even if it's a joke to me, that doesn't mean that they'll find it as a joke. They could find it because they don't know me. And I forget I'm kind of a big guy. I try to do that, but I do it to men because who cares? Like they'll get over it. But sometimes though, I will go into a store, the cashier's working, I'll start talking about the weather, and she'll get annoyed. But that's just what I do. Another thing too about being a big guy is I've gained a lot of weight, and for some reason that has either gotten me, a lot of people make fun of me or say stuff about what I should do about my diet or like shame me for what I eat, or people, I've gained this like new respect because a lot of times, not as much anymore, but I'll wear like all black. I remember I was standing outside of a bar and this like group of like 8 drunk women come in. They were by like a milkshake place, so they had milkshakes, and they asked me. They thought it was like the security, like, hey, do you mind if we bring these in here? I'm like, oh, go ahead. I don't even work there. They left immediately though, but I shouldn't be doing that either. But who cares? Just let them have the milkshakes. I don't work there, but I decided they can enjoy a little bit of slice of life, Let them enjoy their Thursday night. Another time, I was at a bar and this guy just walked up and thanked me. I was like, "Sir, what are you thanking me for?" And he's like, "Aren't you security?" I was like, "No, but I appreciate it." In that same place, this guy comes up behind me and is like, "Bro, I'm gonna follow you. Just like go through the people." Not that I'm like a bully and push people, but I don't know. It's given me like sadness, but then sometimes it has given me like an unearned sense of accomplishment for just gaining weight. But I do have like broad shoulders, not to gas myself up too much. I don't think the kids say that anymore because there's so many terms that come out. 6'7". That's getting old too. It's like ironic. I am getting older though, and I am a millennial, and it is really sad to see millennials talking crap about Gen Z because I remember when baby boomers and Gen X would talk about millennials. So I think that millennials aren't breaking the generational curse of like talking about younger generations. So that's really sad to see. The millennials, we had the Tide Pods, we had the Cinnamon Challenge, we had bath salts. And I just think that we should go easy on the Gen Z and Gen Alpha, but instead we made this thing called the Gen Z stare, and I don't really think it's real. Maybe it is because kids looked at iPads, but I think we should leave Gen Z alone and Gen Alpha. We should, because I remember being, millennial, being told by a middle-aged man that our generation was soft while he wore bedazzled jeans with designs on them. And that's who I had tell me I was soft. So I think we should really like lay off the hate. But then sometimes, I don't know, it's weird because every generation talks bad about every generation. Millennials talk crap about the ones older, younger, but that's just, I guess, how life is. You're always going to complain about how easy the younger generation has and how mean and old the older generation is, where both generations both have people that suck, to be honest. A lot of people hate boomers. I think it's because they're really mean to service workers, but I'm starting to actually see millennials do that a little bit. So I don't think it's just a boomer thing. I think it's just like an old person thing. You lose your patience. And a lot of times you're far removed from jobs like that because you've been working at like not a retail or fast food place for a while. So you kind of lose your empathy. But I'm not making an excuse for people. I just think like as you get older, you should like realize, hey, I shouldn't be mean to these like service workers. They're just trying to do their job and not make a living. Because unfortunately, you can't live off a minimum wage job. You can barely live off like a job that pays well, like nowadays in today's standards. But I think that we should lay off the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha kids. I actually had some fruit today before this. I wanted a snack, and I was like, I don't want to feel like weighed down because I'm going to this car show today in Cleveland. It's the last day for it. So I actually had some fruit. I actually feel really good. I usually eat unhealthy, but I'm actually glad I ate something good today. And another good thing I did for like my mental and physical and emotional health though was I stopped drinking, and I actually stopped drinking originally for a monetary reason because I'd go out, you'd spend like $20 on an Uber. I know when you bring that up, everyone's like, "Oh, an Uber's cheaper than a DUI." I'm like, that's true, but if I can't afford a DUI, I mean, if I can't afford an Uber, I'm definitely not going to be able to afford a DUI. So I just not drink at all. Then you spend like, a lot of money at the bar buying people drinks, because when you're drunk, you either want to fight or you want other people to be happy. And so, buy people drinks and, you eat the late night food, then you go to bed and it's like 3 or 4 or 5, and then you sleep all day. And I only have like one day off on the weekend. So if I got out of work on Saturday, I'd be tired from the week. And then I would go get ready, I'd drink, I'd stay out all night, I'd be extra tired because of the work week, and I'd sleep all day Sunday and not get anything I needed to get done for the week done. And then Monday, I'd be like, oh, I gotta get stuff done for the week. And then I'd just like, it throw off my whole week. So that's a good reason why I stopped drinking, because it affects like your mental and physical health. And I feel like more stress when I was drinking, like after, I'd feel like ashamed of stuff I did because I did some pretty crazy things because I'm an instigator, but it happens. And it's better for my health too, because like alcohol is just like empty calories. I'm not getting judged anyone that drinks alcohol or does drugs, because who am I to judge? I don't know, you drink like 6 or 7 beers, it's like half your day's worth of calories, and that's not even in food, that's in like liquids. And also, I have acid reflux. Like liquor is really bad for my acid reflux. I always like feel bad. I'm like, oh, I'm just a weak person. I can't handle the alcohol like physically, but like, no, it's my stomach hates me. So, another thing too about drinking is like the shame over. Another thing about drinking too is like a shame over. You'll feel bad for yourself. You'll feel depressed, and that's where I'm gonna go to my next thing. I do more segues on my podcast than I do my stand up. I remember when I first started doing comedy. Like, you gotta do segues. I'm like, who cares? I don't do segues. If you're listening to this and you want to do stand up comedy or stand up comic, don't do segues. Just go on your next thing. Who cares? You know what I mean? You only live once. You don't have time to beat around the bush with, so what's the deal? Just say it. Just say it. That's what I do. But being like depressed and sad, I'm not an expert or a doctor, so take my advice with a grain of salt. And if you do need professional help, please reach out to somebody. If you ever think you're going to end things, you can always call me because I think suicide is not a viable option. I really hate when people say suicide is selfish. I don't think it's an option you should take. And I think you should get help, and there's help out there. And I'm willing to listen. And I'm sure there's other people that are willing to listen. But I really hate when people say that suicide is selfish because you don't know what's going on in someone's life or in someone's head. And if they think that they need to end things, that's selfish for you to say that they took the easy way out, because most people are afraid of death. And suicide's a very serious thing. I think it's just like one last like insult people do, whether they mean to or not, on a person that passed away who is struggling. So I do not really like when people say suicide is selfish, but I don't find it a viable option. I have to say that a bunch of times because I don't think you should do it. I think you should get help or try to talk to someone, or you can reach out to me because not that many people listen to this podcast. So if you all reached out to me, I could probably answer. But on that heavy note, on a light note, one thing I like to do, I think you should do if you're sad or depressed, is like find a hobby, something to do to like distract you. Like hobbies could be so simple. Like it doesn't have to be a sport, but it could be something like, makeup could be a hobby. You go on YouTube, get books, read instructions, how to do like different types of makeup things. You could collect rocks, you go hiking, you could you could like learn something new. Like, you could like go and read different history books. But the one thing I say about history is victors write the history, so just take that with a grain of salt. You learn like a new language, a foreign language. That'd be helpful in your everyday life, especially if you want to go to a new country and meet someone new that speaks that language. There's just so many hobbies. I mean, you go hunting, fishing, four-wheeling. Gosh, I sound like a redneck. Just kidding. I do like view myself as a redneck. And then I was trying to explain to my wife how I'm a redneck, I'm a hillbilly, and my wife was like, "Brett, you're wearing an $80 sweater." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. I want to be a redneck, but I'm not. I'm not built for that life. I'm a poser, but that's okay. I can play pretend." I feel like a lot of people who struggle with depression really badly hate when people say this, but go outside. I mean, it does help. I do notice that like when I stay in like all weekend, I don't even leave my house. When I come out, I'm like anxious. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm out in the real world again, but I'm just in my driveway. So I think that going outside is important, to be one with Mother Nature. I I don't exercise. I should, but exercising does make you feel better. I used to go on like nightly walks, and that would make me feel good. I should probably do that. I feel like this podcast is me giving you advice and then me realizing I should do certain things. Not too many people are getting upset about this, and I don't think they really should. I think it's just like rage bait on like a big scale. But Chaperone said men don't make good art, and I don't think Chaperone's ever heard of a podcast before. Um, Podcasts are like a podcast. Podcast equipment are like the artist's tools, and then your ears are their canvases. So we make good art. I'm not saying like I'm on chaperone level like the Pink Pony Club, but like I'm making art here, I'm podcasting. So this is art. I do actually think cooking is an art, like especially like with chicken, because chicken is such like a blank canvas, and it's like almost like a white color too. Before you cook it, it's like pink, but then it turns white. So it is really a blank canvas. You like paint it with different seasonings and sauces. I treat like ribs like an artwork. I talk about a lot about food, but I do love food. I always ask people this food question. It's What food do you like to cook the most that you don't enjoy eating the most? So for me, it's ribs. Like I like ribs, but I don't really crave ribs a lot. But the process of making ribs, I love. I pull them out, I take the membrane off, I throw some seasoning on there, I let the seasoning sit on for like an hour. I put them on the grill and then I brush them with barbecue sauce and then I let that caramelize and then maybe I'll put a little bit extra barbecue sauce on. I don't like to use a lot of sauce. I'm not a big fan of like a lot of sauce in general, but I think if the food's good, you don't need a lot of sauce because it's like cooked right, so it's like tender or crispy, depending on what like food it is, or like soft, like potatoes crispy on the outside, soft on the inside, or like meat, like it's like juicy and like tender. You don't need a lot of sauce if you're good at cooking. I just think sauce is good to enhance the food. It's like an enhancement, it's like a seasoning. So I don't really believe in a lot of sauce, but some people are different. I like how I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna tell you guys how not to be depressed. And devolved into food again, but that's okay. There's so many things you can do to try to lift yourself up from the depression. Even like watch TV. That's where we are in a society to where like you're feeling sad. I'm like, get on the television. If you don't have a television, try to like, read a book. I guess that's good. Really ready for the week to start. I'm trying to go to more open mics this week. Last week, I tried mostly new material and it didn't, not all of it did great because like it was all like brand new stuff I wrote that day or days. So it wasn't that good, but I wasn't debating on my bad comedy, I'm gonna quit just because like I'm so like numb to it. I'm like, I'm gonna do this whether or not the material's good. I do like stand up because you can't stop me. I mean, I tried to do my best like material, but I'm just like in a thing to where like I just got tired. I get in these like ruts where I just keep telling the same jokes. I'm like, I need new stuff. So that's what I'm trying to work on. So like new stuff, and then like it takes me like a few weeks to get it actually where I need it to be to where it's like passable and people are like, oh, this guy's funny. But so I'm working on that. So I'm actually kind of excited. I'm stepping out and trying new stuff. All right, I really appreciate you guys listening to the podcast. Please give me a follow, like, or subscribe, or share a video if I post it. It really helps my podcast. I really appreciate you for listening to me because without you guys, I wouldn't be able to do this. So thank you. Have a good day.